let's revisit the 13 seconds that rocked the world. For those who didn't catch the show 2 weeks ago, this is what we're talking about, a comment by the governor when asked about job growth. You can go ahead and put those headphones on.
There are many employers that say, we're looking for people, but we can't find anybody that has passed the drug test, a lot of them. And that's a concern for me because we're having a serious problem with that.
In hindsight, is there anything that you would want to change about that statement?
It's a completely accurate, factual statement. And I think the Chamber of Commerce has come out and said that. Many other organizations, many individual employers have come out and said that. It is a problem. We know it is a problem. There are employers, there are education programs, ShaleNet, one of them, saying, look, we need to know that you can pass a drug test. What I'm trying to make people aware of out in the general audience is if you're using drugs, it's going to be harder to get a job. Now, as I recall what they said, because quite honestly, I saw the statement once and said this is pure fiction, that I was blaming unemployment on that. Wasn't anywhere close to that, and I got the two best witnesses sitting right here with me, listening in. That wasn't even asked. The question was what I thought about job growth.
Well, I've been asked the question numerous times in the preceding weeks, and I tell people go back and listen to the 4-minute response because we asked the question about being ranked 49th in job growth. Minutes passed, follow-up questions were asked, and then we got to the idea of job matching and the skills gap, and that's when that issue was brought up.
Well, and I'm not amazed that the Democrat organization here in Pennsylvania, maybe some of the senators would take things out of context. They do that quite a bit. I am amazed that the national media doesn't bother to, say, can we listen to the entire tape before we play this? Well, I shouldn't be amazed because it's all about creating controversy. It is all about selling advertising. And frankly, I've met Chris Matthews a number of times. We know he's a spokesperson for the Democratic Party. So we might as well just admit it right here on radio.
Let me throw a comment that came in on PAMatters.com at you here. This is a comment of support from Dave. Dave wrote, I think the governor's correct and the main population that uses marijuana gets off on the privacy laws. For example, I have a neighbor who couldn't keep his job when drug testing requirements were instituted. So now he cuts grass for a living and smokes it and sells it when he's done.
Which grass is he cutting?
Actually, that was funny. That was a good line. I feel the real unemployment numbers would hit home if these people were tested for use. That's exactly paraphrasing what you said.
Well, again, we weren't talking about the unemployment numbers. I'm talking about if you want to get a job in many instances, particularly where you're handling dangerous equipment or something, you're going to get tested in this day and age. Two things I talked about, the testing of that. And, then another thing you're going to get tested is your background. Since 9/11, we do more background checks than we've ever done. Mm-hmm. So you better be prepared to have a good record and not to be using drugs.
And the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association is on board with you on that. And manufacturing heavy equipment, things like that, is something that they're always looking for drug issues in that.
I was going to say, in my conversations with the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association in the follow-up of this story, they had told me on the broader issue of workforce readiness, there are 6,000 to 7,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs out there in Pennsylvania right now for which they can't find qualified applicants. And while it's hard to put a number on it, one of the many reasons for that gap right there is the fact that they're having a hard time finding folks who can pass a drug test, is what I've been told.
Could you have answered that for me last time we did this? And then we wouldn't have had this.
Back then.
Yeah, we wouldn't have this problem.
Well, the fact is, we didn't have the information back then because no one was really talking about it until this program aired 2 weeks ago. The question is, did you start a conversation that needed to be aired?
Well, I guess I started a conversation that I thought people already knew. But apparently my opponents are out there screaming about it. And maybe they didn't know that there's a drug problem. Although, there's an organization called Drug Free Workplaces, you probably well know. They're out there talking about it all the time. And it's something that we need to face.